regime in South Asia and signing of non-aggression pact with India. Pakistan also proposed the establishment of strategic restraint regime in South Asia, which is based on three mutually reinforcing elements of conflict resolution, nuclear, missile restraint, and conventional balance. I would start with the evolution of Pakistan's international nuclear export regime. Proliferation of the nuclear weapons and related technologies has been an international concern since the devastation made in Hiroshima and Nagasaki that jolted the hearts and minds of the international community. To address these concerns, so the history is long. The story starts with Beirut Plan of 1946, and then come up with Atom for Peace, and then that led to the establishment of International Atomic Energy Agency. Then the Irish Plan, founded the principles of the NPT, and then after the silence and the enforcement of NPT in 68 and 70. Then comes the export control regime. So the export control regimes include the overall global non-proliferation regime includes NPT. Missile control technology, MTCR, nuclear suppliers group, Australia group, Zenker Committee, and Wassenaar's agreement. These treaties and agreements actively establish international or multilateral regimes for nuclear non-proliferation and export control. So it will start with. The fonts have become so small, so it is knowable. So I will read it. The first international export control regime, I would say, is the Zenker Committee, and that was established between 71 and 74. A group of 15 states had a series of meetings in Vienna, chaired by Professor Klaus Zenker of the Switzerland. Now this committee has 39 members. The Zenker Committee, also known as NPT's Exporters Committee, and because of the objective was to implement the export control provisions of the Article 3, Paragraph 2 of the NPT, which states that the parties to the treaty should not export directly or indirectly nuclear material and equipment to non-nuclear weapon states unless export is subject to the International Atomic Energy Agency safeguard. And the Zenker Committee has a list of control items known as trigger list because they trigger the safeguards of the International Atomic Energy Agency. So the second is Nuclear Suppliers Group. Nuclear Suppliers Group was established in the wake of 1974 Indian so-called peaceful nuclear explosion, which was in fact not a peaceful nuclear explosion. It was established by 7 countries, 7 supplier countries, Canada, France, Germany, Japan, UK, USA, and USSR. Now it has 48 members. So the Nuclear Suppliers Group is a group of nuclear supplier countries. They seek to contribute to the non-proliferation and nuclear weapons through the implementation of 2 sets of guidelines for the nuclear export and nuclear-related exports. A state should have enforced the legally based domestic export control system that gives effect to the enforcement to act in accordance with the guidelines. Second, be a party to the NPT or any treaty such as Treaty of Plendabar, Treaty of Teletoronko, Bangkok, or Semi-Platnis, or equivalent international non-proliferation agreement, and in full compliance with the obligations of such an agreement, and as appropriate have enforced a full scope of safeguard agreements with IAEA. A state should be supportive of international efforts toward the non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. So far, India and Pakistan are not part of this prestigious group. India is trying to get the membership of NSG, but so far China has block its membership. India has used nuclear trade with Canada and US to successfully conduct its first nuclear explosion. The group was especially formed to prevent the future misuse of nuclear cooperation and weapon development. Its membership is considered prestigious, and if a state wants to do civil nuclear trade with major suppliers who are all members of NSG, India has been trying to get into the NSG. The US signed a civil nuclear agreement with India in 2005. In 2008, needed waiver from the NSG to do nuclear trade with India. Despite Pakistan strongly protested, the NSG agreed to India's specific exemption in September 2008. However, despite US support, India's bid for NSG membership in 2016, NSG plenary was blocked by China, including 8 other members, on the grounds that India is not an NPT signatory country. Pakistan argues that membership to the NSG should be criteria-based and not country-specific. Although Pakistan's 2016 application to the NSG plenary did not yield any positive result, yet Pakistan is determined to continue lobbying for its case for inclusion into this prestigious group. Pakistan export control regime is underpinned by strong legislation, regulatory and enforcement mechanism, which I will be discussing in detail. The third is Australia Group. It was established in 1985. It has 32 members, and it is a voluntary and informal export control group through which members coordinate their national export controls to limit the supply of chemical and biological weapons to countries and non-state actors suspected for pursuing chemical and biological weapons. And fourth is the MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime. It is an informal and voluntary association of countries which share the goals of non-proliferation of unmanned delivery system capable of delivering weapons of mass destruction. These countries seek to coordinate national export license efforts aimed at preventing proliferation. The MTCR was originally established in 1987 by Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom and US. Presently, it has 35 members. India has very recently been included into this group. And lastly, the Wassenaar arrangements. It is an informal arrangement of 42 participating states. It aimed to contribute to regional and international security by promoting transparency and greater responsibility. It is all about transfers of conventional arms and dual-use goods and technologies. And then comes UN Resolution 1540. It deals with it was adopted unanimously on April 28, 2004 to prohibit the support to non-state actors seeking weapons of mass destruction, their means of delivery, to adopt and enforce effective laws prohibiting activities involving in the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, their means of delivery to non-state actors, to enforce effective measures to reduce the vulnerabilities of many legitimate activities to be misused in ways that foster the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Pakistan is also committed to implementation of this resolution. It has also offered assistance to the 1540 committee. Further, its compliance with the resolution, Pakistan has submitted 4 reports since October 2004. Out of these 5 international export control regimes, Wassenaar arrangement deals with the conventional and dual-use technologies. The rest of the 4 are either dealing with nuclear or technological and chemical and biological weapons. So now come to the Pakistan's export control mechanism. Pakistan has enacted its Strategic Export Control Act 2004, which is called CISS-KIU. I'll come to the details of CISS-KIU later. but then Pakistan has a control list of it has published a control list in 2005. Then the establishment of Strategic Export Control Division was established in 2007, and then the Oversight Board was established in 2007, and export licensing and enforcement rules were published in 2009. Next was the list of goods and technologies subject to regulatory control were reviewed and revised in 2011 and 2015-16, and International Compliance Program (ICP) was ICP guidelines were issued in 2013 that provided a method of routinely secreting the transactions, contracts, and dealings. And then Export Control Order 2013 came into place that prohibits the export of all goods which are banned and restricted in control list notified by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then Pakistan Export Policy 2016, then Export Policy Order 2022, in this selective license in case of chemical mentioned in control list are covered by CISS-KIU 2004. These are the salient features of Pakistan's Export Control Act, and Pakistan is determined to safeguard its national security and foreign policy objectives. It has exhibited its commitment to fulfilling its international obligation as a responsible nuclear weapons state, pursuing effective export controls, keeping its commitment to the non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and the war. Pakistan has taken several other measures. I have different slides. I think that has been addressed. Strategic Export Control Division's main functions have been elaborated in this slide, whereas the slide I have in front of me is the measures Pakistan has taken so far is Anti-Money Laundering Act 2010, the Internal Compliance Program and Strategic Export Control Guidelines, Physical Security Training Academy, Specialized Security Force, Special Response Force, Nuclear Security Training, and Border Controls. Other measures include Pakistan has also taken important steps to advance the non-proliferation clause, advance the Convention on Early Notification of the Nuclear Accident, CISS-KIU, 1989, acceded to the Convention on Assistance in Case of Nuclear Accidental or Radiological Emergency in 1989, signed the Convention on Nuclear Safety in 1994, Pakistan acceded to the Convention on Physical Protection of Nuclear Materials (CPP) in 2000 and it signed its 2005 amendment. Pakistan also participated in the proliferations to PSI in 2009. It also participated in the Global Nuclear Security Global Initiative to Combat Nuclear Terrorism. It also participated in all 4 nuclear security summit NSS in 2010, 12, 14, and 16. The challenges to Pakistan's export control regime is the biggest challenge Pakistan faces is the legitimacy of the international recognition of its nuclear status. Pakistan has not been so far included into any of the export control regimes I mentioned earlier. Pakistan is actively pursuing to be recognized as the responsible nuclear weapons state, and Pakistan has developed a robust export control regime, which I elaborated earlier, to harmonize its export control list with the international export control system. It is not less than any other country. It is not less than any export control regime, international control regime. It is fully at par with the international control system. Pakistan has been actively champion of non-proliferation clause and has participated in many non-proliferation initiatives. It has taken extensive measures to improve its nuclear safety and security. It has taken all possible steps to prove that it is a responsible nuclear weapon state with well-institutionalized export control system and robust safety and security record. Despite the impressive array of steps Pakistan has taken so far, Pakistan has failed to achieve the international recognition that it seeks. Dr. A.K. Khan so added pressure on Pakistan to develop robust export control systems. Part of the problem is that Pakistan's effort to provide information about these developments domestically and internationally have not been educated. And thanks to SPD and CISS that they are working in this direction to educate people in this regard. Second, Pakistan has an immense problem as compared to other countries. And as I was talking earlier, yesterday, that we need to counter the Indian propaganda. There are so many Indian writers, Indian authors, which are propagating against the factual position of Pakistan's nuclear statements that have not been adequately countered by Pakistani scholars so far. So once again, thanks to these organizations who are taking care, and we hope that in future this issue is being adequately addressed and fruits will be so the conclusion is that Pakistan as a nuclear responsible nuclear weapons state recognizes its obligations and responsibility to strengthen the efforts of international non-proliferation regime. Pakistan has been playing a leading role to foster an effective export control regulatory framework, which is not only at par with that of the technologically advanced countries, but also meets the standards of existing multilateral export control regime. Pakistan recognizes its obligations to strengthen the international non-proliferation and export control regime as well. It has completed all the prerequisites to gain full access to international nuclear trade for peaceful purposes. And lastly, Pakistan's overall past efforts and non-proliferation credentials are well documented, but despite its track record, its peaceful nuclear program suffered due to the discriminatory policies of global non-proliferation regime. Pakistan export control lists are compatible with that of the multilateral export control regimes, whether that is NSG, MTCR, or Australia Group. So with this note, I thank you all for being on the stage. Thank you very much.